Admiral Zekthar of the Kronos Empire stood before the holographic war council, his forearms gesturing emphatically as he addressed the assembled fleet commanders. The massive chamber aboard the flagship Dominator hummed with the nervous energy of a dozen different alien species, all united under the Kronos banner, all veterans of countless successful conquests across the galaxy. 17 expeditionary forces. Zekthar's translator rendered his clicking speech into the common galactic tongue. 17 separate attempts to claim the third planet of the Sol system. Not one has returned, not even a distress signal. The council chamber fell silent. In 3,000 years of expansion, the Kronos Empire had never encountered such a phenomenon. Planets fell within days, sometimes hours. Primitive civilizations were swept aside like dust before their advanced weaponry. Yet this one small blue world had somehow consumed entire fleets without a trace. Commander Vexara of the Serpentine Collective raised her scaled head. Perhaps the humans possess some unknown superweapon. Our intelligence suggests they've barely achieved interplanetary travel. That's what makes it impossible, growled General Thrak, his tusked face twisted in frustration. Our scouts confirm their technology is centuries behind ours. No orbital defenses worth mentioning. No interstellar capability. They shouldn't be able to stop a single corvette, let alone battle fleets. Dr. Quill Nex, the Empire's chief xenobiologist, extended his tentacled appendages over his datapad. I've been analyzing the available intelligence on human physiology and psychology. There are anomalies that don't fit standard evolutionary patterns. Zekthar's compound eyes focused on the scientist. Explain. Humans are persistence hunters by nature, but it goes beyond normal predatory behavior. They form emotional attachments, not just to their own species, but to other creatures entirely, even their food animals. Yet when threatened, they display a capacity for violence that exceeds any logical survival response. The doctor's tentacles danced over his controls, projecting images of human history into the center of the chamber. Observe their military conflicts. They regularly fight against overwhelming odds, often sacrificing themselves for abstract concepts like honor or freedom. Most species surrender when defeat becomes mathematically certain. Humans continue fighting. General Thrak snorted dismissively. Primitive stubbornness. Useful in ground combat perhaps, but irrelevant against orbital bombardment. You misunderstand, Dr. Quill Nex continued. I accessed their information networks before our communication arrays went dark. The humans have documented something they call the human spirit. It's not a religious concept, it's a measurable psychological phenomenon. When pushed to their absolute limits, individual humans can access reserves of determination that defy biological logic. Admiral Zekthar studied the holographic displays showing human military history. Images of soldiers fighting in impossible conditions, civilians resisting occupation for decades, entire populations choosing death over surrender. It was unsettling. There's more, the doctor added quietly. Their literature is filled with stories of ordinary individuals rising to face cosmic threats. They call them myths, but the psychological patterns suggest these stories shape their entire worldview. They genuinely believe that determination alone can overcome any obstacle. Commander Vexara's forked tongue flicked nervously. You're suggesting their belief makes them stronger? I'm suggesting, Dr. Quill Nex replied, that we may be dealing with a species that literally cannot comprehend surrender. Not won't, cannot. Their neural architecture might make it impossible. The War Council exchanged uneasy glances. The implications were staggering. General Thrak activated his communication array. Show us the last transmission from the 17th Fleet. A crackling hologram materialized, showing the bridge of a Kronos battleship. Fleet Commander Grixtal appeared to be giving routine tactical orders when the transmission suddenly became chaos. Warning klaxons blared, and crew members were shouting in panic. "Sir, they're ramming us." A primitive chemical fuel rocket just. The transmission cut to static. "A chemical rocket," Zeek-Thar repeated slowly, "against a shielded battlecruiser." "It gets worse," Thrak continued. Deep space monitoring detected massive electromagnetic pulses from the Sol system during each attack. Not weapon signatures, industrial activity. They're converting their entire planetary infrastructure to war production in real time. Dr. Quilnex's tentacles writhed with excitement. "Don't you see? Every fleet we send teaches them something new. They're not just fighting, they're learning and adapting with each engagement. Their entire species is treating our invasions as educational opportunities." The chamber fell silent as the full horror of the situation became clear. "They're turning our own attacks into a training program," Vexara whispered. Zeek-Thar's expression darkened. "How long before they become a threat to us?" "Sir," interrupted Lieutenant Keekmore from the communications station, "we're receiving a transmission from the Sol system. It's in our language." The main screen flickered to life, revealing a human female in what appeared to be a military uniform. Her species was smaller than most Kronos warriors, yet something in her eyes made even General Thrak step backward. "Greetings, Kronos Empire," she said calmly. "I am Admiral Sarah Mitchell of the United Earth Defense Force. We want to thank you for the comprehensive military education you've provided over the past year. Your 17 fleets have taught us more about interstellar warfare than we could have learned in centuries of peaceful development." The human smile was somehow more terrifying than any battle roar. "We've reverse-engineered your technology, studied your tactics, and learned your weaknesses. Your crews fought bravely, and we honor their sacrifice by putting their knowledge to good use." Admiral Zeek-Thar found his voice. "What do you want, human?" "Nothing from you," Admiral Mitchell replied. "But we thought you should know we've just completed construction of our first interstellar fleet. 17 ships, one for each lesson you taught us. We're planning some educational visits of our own." The transmission ended, leaving the Kronos War Council in stunned silence. Dr. Quilnex was the first to speak. "We created the very thing we sought to prevent. We turned a peaceful species into warriors by giving them a war to fight." General Thrak's voice was barely a whisper. "How do you defeat an enemy that grows stronger from every defeat?" Admiral Zeek-Thar stared at the empty screen for a long moment before turning to his communications officer. "Send a message to the High Command. Full strategic withdrawal from all sectors adjacent to Sol system. Mark it as forbidden space." "Sir?" Lieutenant Keekmore looked confused. "What reason should I give?" Zeek-Thar's compound eyes reflected the cold light of distant stars. "Tell them we've discovered why no one returns from attacking Earth. It's not that they can't return, it's that Earth won't let them. The humans don't just defeat their enemies. They learn from them, absorb them, and become them." As the great Kronos fleet turned away from human space, Admiral Zeek-Thar couldn't shake the feeling that they weren't retreating from a battle. They were fleeing from evolution itself, and somewhere behind them, a young species was taking its first steps toward becoming something the galaxy had never seen before and might never be able to stop.